Well, Tommy and I just left Drunken Dog Nuts, and over here. I just picked up some wood at Home Depot. This is going to be the next project, and I got this lattice. I can see that it's regular $13.95 for 4x8 sheet, and he said it's damaged. So the girl checked me out and gave me a super deal. I got this 6-foot 4x4 pressure treated, an 8-foot 2x4 pressure treated, which is cracked, that I just used to support the thing. I got all this for $7.90, and we're going to put this lattice around the base of the dorsal shed. That's the end shed, their last edition that I built. We're going to be doing that very soon here. Stay tuned. Alright, I'm going to paint this today, because that's all the time I've got. It's 5 p.m. right now, and I can see I've got it on sale because of the I didn't even see this. The girl spotted this. That's what happens when you got bad eyesight. And but it's not a bad problem. You got some imperfections, but most of this is going to be cut off anyways, because it's going to be for the sides over here, and I'm going to show you in a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this on the flat, one side and then the other side. And then I'm going to cut it off into sections. On the side of what I call the dorsal shed, because that's where I keep Uncle Dorkle, I got a piece to put from here over to here. Now on the back over here, I did this before I moved my brother. I got this wire, and I got it, this is 1.5 by 1 inch, I believe, wire, and I got it down like this, so nothing's gonna crawl underneath, because they'll get impaled if they try to do that. I don't care about mice and even chipmunks, but I don't want the skunks under there or the raccoons. So I did that all the way through here, all the way through on this side, and this is the wire here. This is some of the leftover. And over here is an access panel. I could take I just tacked in 2 nails, and I could pull this whole thing out, and I can get at. I got long things stored underneath there, like poles and conduit and different things like that stored underneath. But nothing can get in there, anything larger than a mouse or a chipmunk. Anything larger than that will not get under there. And the same with this here. And of course, a skunk can get in a hole as small as 4 inches. This is, I think, 2.5 here. And this, I might have to fill this a little more in there. This is an access panel also. It's only held in with 1 screw. And I got stuff stored under there too. In the front here, there'll be a lattice panel the same way, recessed back from here over to those blocks there, and that will be a panel I can pull out so that I can get at my wood. The panel that's going in here, that metal will be taken out of there, and it'll be permanently mounted in there and not accessible, because there's no room to store anything other than a few sheets of metal. Alright, I think I better get started on this. I figured if I get this whole thing painted on both sides tonight, I'll be able to cut it and fit it into the different places, and I think a 4x8 sheet should give me enough material to work with. Now with this stuff here, not all of this is nail good. Like there's no nail here, there's nails here but none here, and there's staples here, I guess. So I have to, like I had to do over on these pieces here, when you cut them, sometimes you cut them like this and you got 2 pieces that are not mended together. So I got little brads I just bang in there and bend over. So it's a little work doing this, but I guess I got to start getting busy on this here, so I'll come back on the video when I get this painted. You don't need to be watching me paint this thing. Alright, it's about 6 o'clock now. It took me an hour just about to paint this, and this is only one side. It's very difficult to paint all around here. And you can see I missed some spots, but when I turn it over, I'll be doing the other side anyways. And between doing both sides, it'll come out pretty good, I think. And naturally, when I get it up into the areas that I need to put this and cut it and everything, there'll be another coat of paint to go on here. This is just this watercolored, I call it watercolor bear, the $10 stuff. Good enough. Now, here's the cutoffs I got. The Dorkel shed in the front is 62 inches, and it's 15.5 inches by 12, I think. Okay. And the side, 67 by 9 on this end and 10 on this end. And the side panel of the Dorkel shed is 16 by 15, no, 12 by 15 by 65. So I'll be cutting all these pieces out of this piece, but it's getting, the sun is starting to go down. So that's all I'm going to do tonight. Tomorrow morning after breakfast, I'll flip this thing over and paint the other side of it. And basically that's what I did when I put those pieces on the generator house. But they look kind of crappy now because when it did rain, it splashed them up and they look kind of crappy. But we'll get it done. So we just got to do the second side. Isn't that pretty? and then we'll do this side. What I am doing here now is we're getting the measurement of 65 inches. At that point, all right, we've got on the side of the Dorkel shed, the right side, we're cutting a 65-inch piece of lattice, 15 inches on this side and 12.5 on this side because of the ground slope. Now I got 3 pieces to cut out of this, and I got the measurements on these 4x4s here. This is 65 by 12 by 15, which is the piece I'm cutting out of here. The side of the mower shed is 67 inches long by 10 by 9 inches. That can be taken out of this section. And the last piece is 62 inches by 15.5 by 12. Now I hope I can get those 3 pieces out of here, because this is 48 inches wide by 8 foot long. So I got to try to get all 3 pieces out of here. Now if you come over here, okay, here's the piece I'm cutting out now. That's going to go from this block here to this block, and then I'm going to have to put some verticals in here. This is the pressure treated 2x4 that supports the center of the Dorkel shed, and we're going to put a piece over here somehow and over here, so that'll be a permanent lattice. Over here it's going to be a permanent piece that's going in here. It'll be fastened to this pressure treated 2x8 and fastened here, and this metal will be removed because there's no room for storage underneath. There's a 2x10 underneath that. So other than the metal, there's nothing else under there. So that'll be a permanent piece to go right over to here. the last piece I gotta make is a service door over here. If you come over here, folks, I'll show you. All right, from this block to this block, there's going to be a service door so I can get at my wood. And I got some pressure treated wood, not this one, that I'm going to mount the lattice to, and it'll be fastened like this. And then I can remove the whole thing, because you just put lattice in there loose without any support in there, it's not good. So this will get me access to this part of the shed, which is important because I have storage under here. Okay, so the first piece we're going to be making is the side of the Dorkle shed. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't paint the rest of this. Last night at 5 o'clock, it took me a little over an hour to paint this. And if I paint this today, even though this paint dries quick, it's going to enable me, it's going to hold me up, because I cannot use this table as a work area with this thing on here wet and full of paint. So what I'm going to do is to cut the pieces, and then I'm going to paint them. At least I got one side painted and pretty well covered, and I can always paint this. This will be the outside, so this is going to be the inside. It doesn't really matter, they're both the same on each side anyhow, and I can paint these in place. Not a big deal, but I did want to get some paint on it.
So right now we've got a cut here of 65 inches. So we got it from this mark to this mark, here and here. Okay, so that's 65 inches by 12 and a half. And we put it down in the ground. This is pressure treated. The lattice is pressure treated. We'll push it down in the ground maybe a half inch or an inch. That's just like I did on the other stuff over here. The animals aren't going to dig under this unless there was food or garbage underneath this shed. They're not going to go digging under it just to get under there. So I'm not worried about that. If that was a garbage dumpster, you might as well say it's a garbage dumpster with all the junk I got in there. If that was a garbage dumpster, I'd have problems. I'd have to really secure it and dig it down. We got a lot of rocks here. You can't dig more than a couple inches without hitting big boulders and big large rocks. All right, so I'm going to draw a straight edge now. And then I'm going to cut this piece out. I'll join you in a minute.
All right. You're probably wondering what this is. This is just to hold this wood, so when I rip it down, it's not going to drop off on me. It'll drop off at this end, but I can hold it and kind of control it. And then we need to cut it right here, but we'll do that afterwards. So that'll give me like a third hand here. So we're about ready to cut this.
Here we go.
What I have to do here is, see how these are not nailed? I have to nail these. Whatever's not nailed. I'm not too worried about this because this is going to be up on the building. But in here we need to nail it. In here we need to nail it. Here we need to. It's just about every one. Because they don't nail these. They're all loose. So we're gonna do that. We'll put some brads in there. Okay, what I'm using is brads. These are not galvanized. And if I don't use a pair of pliers on them, I'll bend them over every damn time. It happens with me with finishing nails too.
So this is how I did it before. They still bend over. They still bend over, but this keeps them together. I was going to use number 3 galvanized, but they're way too big. I can't see that. I gotta get my reading glasses on. Basically just hose it together and then put the nails in. But I'm not gonna take the time to do that. Because originally they look like they used staples and it's bent over. But once this is in place, you know, it's not gonna come apart. Because this is gonna be permanently mounted. Go there. And here. Let's see if that comes through. Just barely feel a point on that, so not a big deal. We'll finish this off camera. But this is how you do it when the things are not nailed. Well, here's one here I gotta do too. We'll do all this off camera. We're ready to mount this. We'll come back and join you.
Alright, so when you buy this stuff, it's all stapled or nailed all the way on the edge. But when you cut it, all the inside pieces are not. So you gotta nail them all. unless you're mounting this with a trim and then you fasten it to the trim, which I'm going to do. So this side is going in, and then I'll paint this when I get it up there. And the advantage of painting it like I did last night is I got most of everything covered, so that when I paint the second side, all the edges here, as you can see, are already done mostly. There's just a little bit, so it's not a big deal. So this will be put up on the building like this. So let's come over here, I'll show you how it's going to go. Okay, this is the 15-inch side, this is the 12-inch side, because of the slope of the ground. Before I put this in, I want to put something on here. Now, I can't obviously nail to the cement block, and if I tried to use concrete nails, I'd bust the block all to hell and have big problems. So basically, there doesn't need to be a lot of strength there, but you do want to support on the end, and of course there's already one in the middle, and this will be in 1.5 inches because the sill is 1.5 inches. So the plywood's hanging over about 1.5 inches. So this will be recessed in here, and then I got to trim around this block here on this, because I want this thing to fit right up against these pressure treated wood blocks that I got on top of the cement block for the support of the shed. Now, if I need anything out of here, I probably should get it out. Well, I can. Like my flashing. The rest of this wood can be pulled out from the other end. Alright, so I'm going to get started on this now. We'll come back on the video when I get something already figured out for here. Alright, Tom, you hold this. I got it pre-drilled in 3 places. We got to have a cleat over here. Get over there, kneel over there, Tom. I got to lay down over here to nail this. I'm left-handed, so I got to lay down and nail upright. You hold this end. Hold that up there. We're flush with this piece here. Now hold that good now. We're 1.5 inches in. 1.5 inches in. It's a good thing I pre-drilled. I'd never be able to nail. I never could nail upright uphill. You got to pre-drill. All this is a cleat for the lattice, and it's pressure treated. Okay, you can let go. You can let go of that now. Let go. You find the hole. Where's the hole? There it is. All right, you're all set over here. All right. Okay. Now, I dug down here. I can get the lattice in. We got a root over here, but that's all right. We can cut the lattice to fit. We're going to take another piece of this wood and put it up to here. So we're going to cut that now. And we'll come back on the video in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail.